What is up? Josh here. And oh, so much going on today. So much. So first up, I'm just going to give a super quick rundown of life stuff and things. So the life stuff and things are interesting right now. For those of you who are just tuning in for the first time ever, hi, I'm Josh. I draw things, I tattoo. I am at the studio right now. That's where I spend most of my time. I do have my daughter here with me today. She likes to hang out and watch on her Kindle while I do my work. My family is in the process of dramatically downsizing so that we can hit the road as a group of nomadic travelers. My wife is going to be finishing up her degree in nursing, so she'll be an RN, and she intends to do travel nursing while I travel and do art, both tattoos and illustrations. So over the next year or so, I'll be working on building the skills necessary to do professional level illustrations, which is a different skill set than professional tattoos, though there is a lot of overlap. So building my illustration chops will also help me tattoo better, or at least design tattoos better. Application wise, I think I'm good to go on tattooing. Still learning every day, but I'm a competent tattoo artist. I've been doing it for 8 years now. On my own studio with 2 business partners, also tattooers. So yeah. Other life stuff and things. So for those of you who have been following for a while, you know I have an active shingles issue. So I got shingles in mid 2023. Started as like this weird rash on my forehead and spread into my eye. I had no idea really what shingles was at the time. I was in my mid 30s. Now I'm in my late 30s, considered. Like I've crossed that threshold. But I had no idea what shingles actually was. So it's basically chickenpox. It's chickenpox that reactivates in your body as you get older. But we were never able to resolve the shingles in my eye. As of this weekend, it has flared up again though. So my eye is in an incredible amount of discomfort, I'll say. Fortunately, it has not severely impacted my vision in my left eye yet. But I am going to see a new specialist within the next couple of days to see what we can figure out on that front. All right, so that's the life stuff and things for now. Yeah, so we're gonna get into some sketching today. I have recently discovered the amazing sketchbook, or the page assist features inside of Procreate, and I believe Monero. I don't remember his first name, but he sells a pack called the Sketchbook Experience, which to the best of my knowledge is set up similar to what I've set up here, and it is a bunch of sketchbooks that, you know, like you can sketch in it, and then when you're ready you just add a new page and you get a blank page in your sketchbook. Now this is one that I set up myself, so it's got like my logo and this sketchbook belongs to, and you know, all that fun stuff. And I've really been enjoying sketching like this. It's a whole lot of fun. On that note though, my coffee is brewing on the Keurig. I have to run it twice because I have a giant coffee mug. So I'm gonna go finish my coffee and I'll be right back. And I'm back. You know, I don't like that. So I'm gonna switch this. We're gonna do a fade when I hide and a fade when I show. So, whoosh, whoosh. That's a lot more pleasing to the eye. It's not just like, I'm here. All right. So, what to sketch today? I think what I'm gonna do is open up Phoenix slides, and we're just gonna do some figure studies today. Except I am going to do costumed figure studies today. Include subfolders. Oh, that's something else interesting happening with life and things. I started a barter, a barter post on Facebook. So I am bartering tattoo services for stuff that I want around the holidays, and so far that has gone really well. Like, I've already secured one of 3 iPads that I'm after. So I've got 3 kids, and they've got some old outdated Kindles, and I was just like, you know, I'd really love to get the kiddos some iPads for Christmas. So I got one of them, and now I'm working on getting the next 2. I've also secured a laptop, specifically a MacBook Pro. That's going to be for me. um, oh, a 3D printer. Like, lots of really cool stuff has found its way into reveal and finder. Has found its way to me through this barter post, which I am super excited about. There we go. Got that pulled up. And now I can pull OBS back. There we go. Yeah, that was just really exciting news for me. I think the MacBook Pro is what I'm most excited about at the moment. Because, I mean, come on. MacBook Pro. now, lower that opacity, group these. So when you're working with pages, doing Page Assist and Procreate, groups are pages, or layers outside of a group are also considered pages. So most of the things that I do are set up as groups, but a lot of them I also have individual layers, but for this one I want to lower the opacity of this layer, so, and then draw on top of it. So I'm using a group to solidly achieve that effect. Okay, so now to identify major forms of create a bit of the armpit. You get an overlap there, tricep, not tricep, deltoid covers, ball socket. Not really. Chest muscles are getting stretched upward. Same here, chest muscles stretched upward over that ball socket. Can't really see the tricep, or not tricep, the deltoid here. And we can see the tricep. There's a whole lot of clothing here, so I'm really inventing most of this based on what I know of anatomy. Stretching. We get a spiral fold there. Hey, what's up? Well, I appreciate you stopping in. Have a great day, man. We've got another shirt tied around the waist here. We get some drop folds here. So that is folding back up, following the form. The shirt also comes up right there. Oh. Oh, that was a good sneeze. All right. And then this is honestly sort of a thick fabric. So the thicker the fabric is, the less it folds. It will have like one or two distinct patterns in it. And then it just sort of goes in whatever direction it was going to go in. So here we have some half-lock inert folds. Which is where these folds are bundling up on each other. I'm learning a lot about folds right now, which is why I decided to do clothed figure drawing today. Or costumed figures. Got some of this shirt hanging around behind him. I'll just shade that dark to separate the planes. Seam. Well, alright. I'm gonna. Got a twisting knot here with the other sleeve, a half lock. The sleeve hangs down. Almost level with the other one. Got the rolled cuff. Compression fold here. These paints are going. There's the seam. There's the seam. We've got a series of folds. Here's a half lock. So it stretches out towards this end and it's compressed right here. We get like a fold that goes into the fold. And then some this is like an S curve. So the fabric ends up getting like this thickness to it. It is sometimes tricky to communicate. But you have to understand how the fabric's fitting over the form too. That actually, in my opinion, looks kind of convincing. Happy. Happy, happy. Alright. So now I'm going to work on some of the anatomy. We get the serratus coming around right here, which is actually visible. It goes up under the pecs and it wraps around. We get a little indent right here to help show that overlap. Serratus is here, but it's not visible all the way to the edge. That's what that little bump is. abs, we get a little bit of the abdominals where they connect to the rib cage. We get some definition there. Most of the definition for the abs is actually in the middle separation through here, navel. You want me to put on cocoa melon? All right. You want cocoa melon. All right. I need to go help my daughter with her cocoa melon emergency. And I will return. And I'm back, and that was a much better transition as I was showing the webcam. So, I was somewhere on this drawing. Cocomelon has been delivered. Alright. Sketching. So, might as well finish up this boot. We end up with a little bit of a fold in the leather here, comes down into the heel. Get some laces, which I'm not interested in drawing completely, don't care that much. I like the thicker toes on boots, so I'm altering the design a little bit. Get like the arch, nice work boot, arch support, there we go. Okay, maybe not. Too much of an arch. I'll just do it this way. Ah, that's better. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. So where I always struggled with drawing clothes was not giving the fabric enough volume or not really understanding what the folds were. I have been really embracing learning lately on a interesting regimen. I think I included it in my last video in the comments, but there's an artist who is doing 10,000 hours worth of art. These are nice drop folds. um, and tracking his progress, but he's using the Anki learning flashcard method to give himself a random challenge every day. I have since also done something similar. What's up? So I have been doing a smaller challenge every day. I do find that if I can apply what I'm learning to a project I'm working on, whether it's an illustration or a tattoo, it goes much better than if I just sit and study for no real reason. But learning about fabric and folds has been a really fun project for me, and understanding what those folds are makes a huge difference in my ability to communicate them effectively or stylize them how I see fit, which is also really convenient. Awesome. Yeah, that's great news. If you want a great resource on learning to draw, I would highly recommend you check out Tim McBurney's channel, Modern Day James. I'll just, I should do a video on the best learning resources out there. It's not me. I am an artist. I'm not a great teacher, though. I don't think. I can teach students one-on-one in the studio, for instance, but that's whenever I can literally sit and show them what I'm trying to teach. Yeah, but I wouldn't call myself a teacher. I'm glad that the algorithm's working though. But yeah, I should do a video on the best YouTube learning resources for artists. I think my biggest piece of advice for learning art is to always have a personal project going on, so that you always have something, like, no matter what your skill level is, always have a personal project so that you can stay motivated. Because just doing drills every day without a really good purpose behind it will eventually just wear you down. It takes the joy out of it. That is a good challenge. If you want to add a layer of motivation to it, draw something you care about from reference every day for 100 days, and you'll see that the attention you give it will be way more than if you were to just draw something random for 100 days. Like, if you're putting real care into your art, you'll grow faster, if that makes any sense. I hope it makes sense. Got a big mustache here. And it sticks out. That makes me happy. Big beard that I'm gonna stylize. That's awesome. That's super awesome. Yeah, actually, you drew some. So, were you using art as a reference? Eyes, nose, mouth, and hands. So, those do tend to be the hardest parts. Funny enough, I think what most people do is complicate things too much with the face. Especially if you're drawing something small like this. You have this tendency to want to be like, all right, well, this is an eye. And then you drop all of the detail ever into that eye. But honestly, looking at my reference, this is the eyebrow. There's a really cool rhythm right there. And that's actually pretty close to the eye that I see. And I may have, yeah, I even put too much detail into the eye that I don't see. And the nose. Okay, so using, I think the question I asked was if you were drawing a piece of art. Can I take your dollar out? I guess. You want to say hi to everybody? No? Okay. Yeah, so I use a paper-like screen protector. For a while there, I was using a really nice tempered glass micro-textured screen protector, which I loved the feeling of, but it did. So when I draw a diagonal line, so like straight up and down or horizontal, no problems. But if I was drawing a diagonal line, I'll try to replicate what I was doing or what was happening. So this is a diagonal line on this screen protector, which is just a film. With the tempered glass one that had a better texture, it would do this on diagonal lines. It was really frustrating. So I still haven't found the perfect screen protector, unfortunately. The one that I liked the most had that really annoying texture issue, or not texture, wobble issue. So ended up giving up on that one and just going back to a film screen protector, which is nowhere near as good. We get sort of that drumstick. Yeah, it was like, I cannot describe how perfect the texture was. It was an absolutely perfect texture. It felt like a Wacom tablet that had just that nice barely resistance there. But this one that I have now it's a little rougher, so it has a little more resistance and it feels nice, but it also wears down the Apple Pencil tips way too fast. So that's the biggest bummer for me. I've had this one on for just a couple of weeks now, and already I'm gonna have to replace my Apple Pencil tips. But I buy those by the 4-pack, so it's not that big of a deal. Oh, well, that's interesting. I need to pay more attention. Sorry, I was referring to the art that I'm drawing, or the reference that I'm drawing from here. We've got like a cutout that forms right here. Currently using a Wacom tablet without a screen. So I used one of those for years. The first Wacom Cintiq that I got to use was when I was in college back in like 2006, I think is when I got to use it, 2007. And that ruined me from any of the like Intuos models. Like I couldn't go back. Fortunately, the Cintiq knockoffs are pretty baller anymore. Like they're really good knockoffs now. I think my favorite was probably what was it? Sorry, my brain's not working. Wait a second. This will help. Ah, yes. Nectar of the Gods. Wow, his forearm's really short. Really, really short. So I've altered the pose a little bit from what the reference has, just to make it more dynamic. But while I was zoomed in, I wasn't really paying attention to the proportions. I was just drawing from reference again. So let's make it thicker. Is that about right? Yeah. All right. That's better. Maybe not. I need to bring it. No. Does that feel better? I think that feels better. Lost my train of thought there. So Inktober is a huge one. I was going to participate in one of the October challenges. I just never picked one. Imagine FX is doing a pretty awesome October challenge. I wish I'd jumped on it in time. Well, I guess there's really no limit. But honestly, my professional obligations, tattooing, really impacted what I was able to keep up with last month and the month before even. I took part in Sketch Timber and Smogist. Didn't post them all, but I did it. I just didn't post it for Sketch Timber and Smogist. I was only able to do like 3 or maybe 4 dragons. I don't remember. I meant to do them all, and I just wasn't able to keep up. So I decided not to. Let's see. So I'm trying to modify the reference here for the axe. I didn't like the way I was doing that, so ooh, Google to the rescue. Let's see. Cool axe design. Don't really need. That's more of a tomahawk. Lots of World of Warcraft stuff, because that pops up every time you look for any sort of weaponry. There we go. This one's nice. Not gonna get super detailed with it. I just really wanted to have some sort of reference for how this would look. I gotta remember, this is going away from me, so the perspective I need it to look like it's coming. Let me get back to the chat. That's an excellent plan, the Discord server that you've made for yourself. Having some way to track your progress is probably one of the most important things you could do. Whether it's a sketchbook like this in Procreate, or just, like you said, a Discord server where you can track your own progress. Just some way to see how far you've come is super duper important. It was kind of dinky. Okay. I mean, it's bulkier than my reference, but man, that just doesn't look threatening to me. Oh, and there's the phone. Alrighty. Hey, awesome. Thank you. Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate it. Oh, yeah, I did unmute. I was like, did I unmute? Gotta answer that phone when I'm here. How I make money. That's not a bad little drawing. So tracking, super important. Yes, track your progress. Because you can't manage what you don't measure. So tracking your progress is a great way to both like see where you need to improve and judge how far you've already improved and celebrate. I mean, celebrate the ever-living crap out of every improvement that you get. Also, very few shortcuts in art. There are, like, on occasion, there's going to be a trick. That's awesome. Drew your portrait today. Didn't even know it. I will say, of the resources that I've studied, the best, oddly, the best resource that I've found is, well, I don't know about oddly, it's like a hidden gem, but look up 1010's anatomy course. It's really hard to find, but if you can, I don't know if it's for sale right now, but if you can find 1010's anatomy translated, it's all in Chinese and the translation's really rough, but if you have any idea about what he's talking about and you follow along with his drawings, it's almost unfair how well he can teach. Hey, I'd love to get to 1K. I mostly just do this for me as a record and slowly building an audience that I hope to help out somehow, some way, or at least hang out with a little bit on occasion every Tuesday. But yeah, I appreciate you stopping in and subscribing and stuff. Sitting here drawing and sketching and stuff and things with my tiny little human over there. So Draw a Box is great as a foundation. Drawing from the elbow and wrist, also super important. That's how you go from this to this, or this instead of this. So the more confident you can get with your lines, the better. But the most important thing you're going to learn from Draw a Box is perspective. Once you have a grasp of perspective, and you can draw anything in perspective, it will completely unlock most of drawing. And I wish I were exaggerating there, but I'm not. So pay very close attention to perspective. It is the most boring part of drawing, but once you know how to map out a basic cube, you can use that cube as a unit of measurement. So this is not a cube. Let me make it more cubish. A little too much. So if a unit of measurement boils down to like 1 to 1, or 1 to 2, and you know how to stack cubes together, you can basically Lego build everything that you draw. And it seems like a crutch at the beginning, but the more you work with proportions and perspectives... Oh, well, thanks, I think. But the more you work with proportions and perspective, the less you'll need to rely on actual measurements to pull it off. So let's say something is supposed to be twice as tall as it is wide. So that would be a proportion of 2 to 1 or 1 to 2, however you wanted to think of it. If I tell you, all right, find the center of this box, and then you can actually expand that box using perspective to get an accurate... Oh, sorry. There we go. Get that ruler line. So this would be the end of this line if I were to double the box. And then I just follow the perspective for the rest of it. So now I have this box that is twice as tall in perspective as it is wide. Once you understand that you can build anything this way, including curves... Well, thank you for joining, Diana, or Diana, however it is. I like names like Josh. Like there's only one way to pronounce it. But thank you for joining in. I appreciate you stopping in. But on the perspective side of things, if you know that this box is now twice as tall as it is wide in perspective, and you know how to cut things out of this box mathematically, you can literally draw anything you can imagine at that point. It just takes a lot of practice and repetition. So that, I think, is what you're going to gain the most from the draw a box resources if you stick with it. It is very dry, unfortunately. So try to actually draw boxes a little better than some of them. But perspective drawing in general tends to be very dry. But once you understand perspective drawing, you can draw anything. Yeah, it's a weird hack. And I say this in air quotes, the only problem with perspective drawing is it can make your drawings very stiff. If you're trying to draw something organic and you do it in perspective, mathematically, it can look very stiff. But understanding perspective and then adding gesture on top of that perspective and going back and forth. So you like do gestural lines, and then you make sure that it's right in perspective, and then you do more gestural lines or shading, and then you make sure that the form still feels right in perspective. If you go back and forth, it'll make your drawings accurate and dynamic, and that's really what most people are after. I think that's what I'm after anyway. But yeah, perspective is a cheat code for art, 100%. There's... how to put it? So there's no necessarily right or wrong way. The order doesn't matter so much whenever you're working on the foundations. So poses from Pose Maniacs, the more you practice those, the better your eye for proportion is going to be. That's just something that develops kind of naturally. perspective will help you make things feel more real in 3D space. So there's a place and time for that too. I would say study what interests you the most right now, but sort of have a checklist. Um, have a checklist of what it is that you're needing to nail for the fundamentals. Uh, my checklist for fundamentals is basically uh, form and perspective. Figure drawing is its own sort of visual library thing. So you'll get better at figures just by studying figures, but form and perspective is like the big foundation there. That was too much erasing. Let's lightly erase. Easy does it. Easy does it. Let's see. Form and perspective. Composition is a big one. Value is a huge one. Like understanding value range, and then beyond value, after you know how to do things with good values, is when you dive into color. Which I hardly ever work with color until a design is almost done. No, playing loudly. I apologize if that's obnoxious on the stream. Let's see what else. Like, I literally have a checklist. It's right over here. Why am I not looking at it? So color, composition, this is in alphabetical order, not order that I would recommend learning it. So color, composition, and story, form and perspective, technique, which is specific to whatever medium you're using. So if it's digital art, you need to learn digital art techniques, which are going to be different but related to, say, like gouache techniques or tattooing techniques or whatever tool you end up using. It's going to be specific to that tool. And then value and rendering. Under my personal visual library studies, I have anatomy, cloth, environment, and then shape design as its own separate thing. So those are the things that I tend to study back and forth over and over and over again. But almost always related to a project that I'm actively working on. I do not want it to be too formulaic or bogged down in too much technical crap. Like, I really want to make things that I want to make. Like, that's the point, to me, that's the point of art, is to see things that are in my head, see them on the page instead of just in my head. Oh, and it is 10. Okay, so I'm going to stay on a little bit longer. I do have a consultation coming in shortly-ish, so I won't be able to stay too late past my regular 10 o'clock. So composition is the way you arrange things on a page to make them aesthetically pleasing, or to tell a story, or preferably both, so that you tell a story with an arrangement that looks good. It's like a whole science in and of itself, or an art. Haha. I'm so funny. But yeah, just seeing how you arrange things. That's how you arrange things is composition. And ideally, a good composition would be an aesthetically pleasing arrangement that tells the story that you want it to. I think that's the best I could explain it. Does it make sense? Let me know if I failed or succeeded there. All right, sweet. Now these are just landscape compositions that don't necessarily tell a story, but that's where I was trying to do some studying of composition for landscapes. I will say I did try to at least guide the eye in most of these. So like this one up here. Oh, go away. No, go away. I don't care. So this one up here, I wanted to have, you know, a nice repetitive element, but with one that is not like the others, that sort of draws your eye there. Yes, you could definitely apply composition to the movement of hair. If you want a great example of people who have studied hair to the point of turning hair into an art in and of itself, my two favorite resources, well, three if you want a modern one. So of the classic masters, you've got Alphonse Mucha, J.C. Leyendecker, and the modern master of pretty movement in hair is definitely Lois. So it's Lois Monbarrow. She uses hair to great effect in almost all of her designs. And she also has her own Discord community and Patreon. Definitely worth checking out. But yeah, those would be, like, if you want composition and hair together, those are like the three masters. You've got some Mucha was the master of the Art Nouveau movement. Leyendecker was Norman Rockwell's apprentice person. Wait, I haven't read the biography in a minute. I'm pretty sure Leyendecker was Rockwell's student, or Rockwell was Leyendecker's student. I can't remember the order there. That's gonna bug me. But he had fantastic hair designs, and then Loish is the modern savant is what I would say. Whenever it comes to hair design, she is fantastic. I'm glad I could help. Now, looking at these people that I've recommended, you have to understand, like, this is not something that you should ever compare your own work to, but it is a great ideal to, like, aim for. So it's an inspiration, not a comparison. So don't get frustrated if your hair doesn't look like their hair right away. Like, these are people who have spent in all three of those cases, they spent decades getting to where they ended up. Literal decades. And I remember some of Loish's early work in the, like, pre-2010, because I was a big DeviantArt person back in the day. And that's where she got her first real claims to fame. And yeah, like, her first daily deviation, she exploded, and rightfully so. She was very, very good very early on, and since then she has grown tremendously as an artist. I think she's like good. That is perfect. Yeah, compare yourself to yourself, no one else. But it is useful to have those inspirations and ideals. Very, very useful. Like, I have a whole board of artists and thinkers that I look up to basically every day. I'm like, what would Loish do, or what would Leyendecker do, or some of my modern inspirations were sorry, I have tried and failed to quit caffeine. It's not going great, but yeah, it's good to have ideals and inspirations and work toward those, but you'll find your own style. Okay. Chase Jarvis. I'm gonna throw more knowledge at you. 1 second here. I'll write it down over here. So, yeah, 66 is fine. Chase. Oh, that's an ugly J. Chase Jarvis wrote a book called Creative Calling. And it's a nonfiction, like like a self-help book, honestly. I don't like the term self-help. It's a personal development book for creatives, but it's called Creative Calling, and he makes an excellent argument in that book that everyone is creative, and that spark of creativity is both a muscle and a poison. So the way he describes it, you can always get more creative, and it's healthy to express creativity, and the more you express it, the more creative you get. And in that way, it is like a muscle. It does not deplete. It gets stronger with use, not weaker. But it's also, in his opinion, almost like a nuclear core. So if left unused, it festers. Instead of getting stronger, it weakens you. So unused creative potential is why we get frustrated. And I thought that was a really beautiful and apt analogy for what that spark of creativity is. So I'm glad to hear that you're taking the time to build that creative muscle. Yeah. I'm very glad to hear that. Oh, one thing that I didn't mention over here, which is very useful. This is the most rudimentary. Stack a box on top of a box and make it look right. But what if I wanted something that was not just tall or wide, but more like an L shape? Well, check this out. Same deal. So halfway from a corner to the halfway point until it meets. Oh, that's out of perspective. Now I've got something that is accurately like L-shaped, and I can build off of this in any direction I want, whether it's that way or that way. You can, when I say once you understand how to duplicate a box and move it and twist it and stuff, and you can build anything, I literally mean anything. You can Lego things together any way you want. So perspective is, yeah. I was just looking at that underneath where I wrote Chase Jarvis Creative Calling. I was like, box is way cooler than I made it look here. Like you can Lego everything together, especially if you spend time to do it right instead of sketchy like this. All right. So I gotta go and get ready for my upcoming appointment. Thank you for tuning in and chatting, and I'm glad I was able to give you some resources that hopefully help make your art journey a little bit more exciting and a little bit of direction if you needed it. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for talking and letting me talk and jabber and stuff and things. So take it easy. I do this every Tuesday at 9 Eastern time, so whatever time I started in your time zone. So yeah, hopefully you join me next week. That'd be awesome. Thank you. You have a great one. And keep up that drawing challenge. It's really awesome.